Hi everyone, this is Sanjeev Venkatram and welcome back to Business Insights. I'd like to spend the next 10 minutes talking about part 6 of applying the Microsoft platform to the manufacturing space. Note that this is also applicable to the professional services industry. In part 6 now and in this video, I'd like to highlight 3 key points. 1. The relative ease of integrating PowerApps, SharePoint and Excel with Power BI to create a resource costing module to respond to requests for proposals, RFPs, or requests for quotes, RFQs. 2. The ease of leveraging the very strong Microsoft developer community. And 3. The ease of using Microsoft Teams to collaborate across various functional groups. Before I get into the demo, let me spend a few minutes talking about the need for a Power BI-based costing module. Costing and pricing are key elements of the RFP or RFQ process, and these processes of certain size and scope can be bespoke and demand a high degree of creativity, flexibility, and speed, especially towards the end with internal management reviews and customer negotiations. The typical issues with existing tools are A. Standardized packages lacking flexibility, and B. The most flexible tool, good old Excel, at times leaving the door open for data errors and change management issues. The Power BI-based module provides the best of both worlds, and we'll see how. With this, let's get right into the demo. First, let's look at the architecture behind this module. We have 3 basic elements: inputs, a processor, and output or a summary. Now we have 2 sources of input, PowerApps and Excel. So let's look at the PowerApps view. This view has a few drop-down buttons capturing the basic inputs of a project, such as client name, project code, etc., and an input for resourcing cost. Note this is a tops-down approach of capturing engineering resource costs, where the team has an approximate idea of how much the customer is willing to spend on design and development costs. Now, as you can see, this application is embedded in Power BI. The form itself is developed in PowerApps and SharePoint. So we first open SharePoint and develop a list. We create the right columns and choose the right field control. Drop-down choices for attributes and a numeric data entry cell for the number. From here, we open up a Canvas app in PowerApps. In the Designer or Canvas, we select an editable form. We need a data source to activate the form, for which we select the SharePoint list. We then notice the respective fields are loaded into the form automatically. We further format the controls per our needs. We then change the type of form from edit to new and add a button to submit the data and one to reset the form. And that's pretty much it. We then save the application and publish it. My sincere thanks to Senthamil Selvan from the Microsoft community for helping me with this. On the Power BI side, we import the Power BI visual and then add a random data field in Power BI to initiate the visual. We then select the right app from the environment where the app is published and then add it to the custom visual, and that's about it. The second input is from Excel. We have 3 tables in Excel, one that gives us the relative mix of resources across the resourcing structure. A second tab gives us the standard cost. The third tab gives us the seasonality of input. I've used a single subsidiary here, and one could have many. As well, one could have as many exchange rates as there are subsidiaries. We import these tables from Excel. Now let's look at the processor. To correspond with the custom visual we've imported, we need to import the underlying SharePoint table. To do this, we click on Get Data and More, and then select Online Services, and then select the SharePoint list. We select the right URL, and then select the relevant list, and that's it. Also note that the 3 Excel tables have already been imported. With this, we have A, an idea of total cost from the PowerApps input, and B, allocation percents by resourcing structure, the cost per resourcing structure, and an idea of seasonality. So to allocate the total cost by resourcing structure and seasonality, we have to ratio the total cost down. To do this, we start with the seasonality table, which is at the most granular level. To this, we add the resource allocation percents by looking up the allocations from the cost profile table. The lookup formula has 3 parts. The first is an expression is the value that we want to bring in from the relevant input table. The second is the corresponding field in the relevant input table, and the third is the field in the current table to which the value from the input table corresponds to. Many thanks to Ruth Martinez from again the Microsoft community for sharing this. Well, that's pretty much it from a processing standpoint. With this, we have allocated the total cost down by resourcing profile and seasonality. A last calculation is to convert these monthly costs into headcount by dividing the monthly values by the corresponding cost per head. We then get the headcount by resourcing structure and month. Finally, we look at the summary. We add 2 bar charts, one for cost, another for resources. We add months to look at seasonality and the resourcing structure to know the trend by role. We can also add relevant role and project level filters as drill downs. And that's it. So let's see this in action. We select the project input form and we select the right parameters. We then click the submit button so that the values are stored in SharePoint. We then reset the form and refresh Power BI. As you can see, the relevant inputs have been captured in Power BI as indicated by the table on the right and down below. With this, and as we can see, the total cost now has been allocated down by resourcing structure and by seasonality. Further, we get an idea of headcount by role and by seasonality. Now, on a different note, as a means of collaboration with different engineering teams, we could use the outstanding Microsoft Teams tool. We could communicate by one-on-one, one-to-many, or group conference calls, or even over chat. If need be, I could share my screen or application for immediate feedback, and these meetings can be recorded. I trust this gives you an idea of A, the relative ease of integrating PowerApps, SharePoint, and Excel with Power BI to create a resourcing costing module to respond to requests for proposals or requests for quotes. B, the ease of leveraging the very strong Microsoft developer community. And C, the ease of using Microsoft Teams to collaborate across various functional groups. Thank you very much. Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this video are mine and do not state or reflect those of Microsoft.